This is macOS Ken.
More signs of iPhone strength. There is no place like work for the holidays, and a slew of updates from Apple. It's Wednesday, the 27th of January, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Sunbasket, delivering oven-ready meals that are fast, fresh, and delicious. Get $35 off your order using promo code macOSKen at sunbasket.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. You might hear good news about Apple in India on today's earnings call. Apple Insider cites numbers from Counterpoint Research and Cyber Media that show a doubling of iPhone sales in the December quarter of 2020 in India versus the same quarter a year earlier. Assuming the firms are correct, that is the kind of thing about which Apple might crow. A couple of caveats around the numbers. First, they aren't huge by iPhone standards, coming in at 1.5 million units last quarter. Additionally, those numbers were largely driven by sales of older, less expensive models like iPhone 11, iPhone XR, and iPhone SE. Those points stipulated, the numbers show growth and room for plenty more of it. iPhone's share on the subcontinent stood at 4% last quarter, leaving plenty of room for expansion. Anybody looking for more good news around iPhone could cast their gaze LG InnoTek's direction. iMore says the sole supplier of triple camera and 3D time-of-flight modules for iPhone 12 Pro and iPhone 12 Pro Max saw revenue rise 43% last year. Companies in Apple's supply chain are fighting the holiday spread of COVID-19 with a bit of do-re-mi. Another piece from Apple Insider says Apple's major manufacturing suppliers in China are offering incentives to workers who agree not to go home for the traditional Lunar New Year in February because of coronavirus. Last year, people who had already gone home for the holidays were encouraged to stay there to hamper the virus, with the government extending the official holiday period and keeping people from returning to work. Now, Apple Insider says manufacturers, including Luxshare, Pegatron, and Foxconn, are encouraging workers to stay at their plants instead of going home. Dystopian messages incoming. Here's one from Luxshare to its employees. For the 2021 Spring Festival, we call on employees to spend the holidays where you are and to spend the time with your colleagues at the company where it is safe. A different family, the same reunion. You will make yourself, family, friends, colleagues, the company, and the country safe. From the friendly folks at Foxconn, we will still be very busy during the Spring Festival, and we are recruiting more workers and offering good compensation. Staying on site amid the pandemic is making the biggest contribution to yourself, others, and your country. And proving that it gets people, Pegatron's offering cash. The piece says certain workers have been offered the equivalent of $617 US to stay locally. Gong hei fat choi. And now, back to money. If there's one stock Berkshire Hathaway's Warren Buffett likes, it's Coca-Cola. If there's a stock he likes more, it's Bank of America. But if there's a stock the Oracle of Omaha likes more than either of those, it's Apple. Mac Daily News ran part of a piece from the Motley Fool on Tuesday. According to the piece, those are Buffett's three most favored stocks for 2021. Coke in third, B of A in second, and Apple in the top spot. On Buffett's Apple stance, the Motley Fool says Berkshire's 944 million share stake in Apple makes up almost half of all of its publicly traded stock holdings, and it's worth more than $135 billion at recent prices. Berkshire doesn't seem to have any doubts about Apple's long-term staying power. investors shouldn't necessarily count on a repeat of the extremely strong performance that has sent Apple's shares soaring more than 275% in the last 2 years. Yet with the success of the 5G-enabled iPhone 12 signaling the beginning of another huge upgrade cycle for the mobile device giant, Apple still has upside. From a phrase we hadn't heard for a while to one we are saying for the third day running, Apple shares hit a new all-time closing high on Tuesday. A separate piece from Mac Daily News says shares were basically flat, rising only 24 cents. Still, they were rising from a record high, which means new record high. Shares ended the day at $143.16. Apple's market value as of close of trading yesterday stood at $2.408 trillion, making it the world's most valuable company, according to the report. If anticipation is not your thing, good news, it's almost over. You just have to wait a bit longer. The flurry of financial stuff has been ahead of Apple's first quarter fiscal year 2021 earnings call, which is today. The company will release earnings after the bell, then at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, Apple execs will chat it up with analysts. You can catch the call live on Apple's investor relations page. It'll also be out as a podcast a couple of hours later. We will hit numbers on macOS Ken Live, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern at youtube.com/KenRay. And of course, we'll hit the call harder on tomorrow's macOS Ken. More news in a moment, but first a word from Sunbasket, delivering oven-ready meals that are fast, fresh, and delicious. I was just looking over Sunbasket's menu for next week. Whether you're into basic comfort food or lots of varied tastes, Sunbasket has something for you. From meal kits like Thai lettuce cups with pork curry, crushed cashews, and fresh lime, to fresh and ready meals like braised beef Penang curry with jasmine rice and sweet peas, or cauliflower macaroni and cheese. The food is great. Not only do they use top-quality ingredients, the meals are created by Michelin Award and James Beard award-winning chefs. And the fresh and ready meals are super convenient. All you have to do is heat and eat, which means no prep and no mess. And here's what else is great. Fresh and ready meals are just $8.99, so they're good for your body and your budget. Everything I've had from Sunbasket has been wonderful, but you should try them yourself. And you can try them for less. Right now, Sunbasket is offering $35 off your order when you go right now to sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen at checkout for $35 off your order. sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen. A big day of updates on Tuesday, 'cause it's too big to be little. Everything but the Mac got updates Tuesday. Well, I don't know that any of the AirPods did, but, the big-ish stuff. Most of our update news today comes from Apple Insider, starting with iOS 14.4 and iPadOS 14.4 releases. Marquee features include adding Find My items to the Find My app. The piece says that enables third-party manufacturers to create tracking devices for Apple's network, or it will. So far, the only third-party devices taking advantage are Belkin's earbuds. The update also brings the haptic feedback handoff feature for HomePod Mini and iPhones with the U1 chip. Apple's own notes say smaller QR codes can be recognized by camera. There's the option to classify Bluetooth device type and settings for correct identification of headphones for audio notifications. And there are notifications for when the camera on your iPhone is unable to be verified as a new genuine Apple camera in iPhone 12, iPhone 12 mini, iPhone 12 Pro, and iPhone 12 Pro Max. Those notes also list a number of fixes, but what's interesting is I've not seen anything about Apple's app tracking transparency feature going live. That's the thing that's supposed to get your permission before letting an app track your activity across other apps. Apple said last year that that would be pushed to early this year. Many had expected that to turn up in this round of updates. So far, apparently not. Now, I'm usually one to wait a couple of days for updates, but I've gone all in on these thanks to 3 specific security fixes. The piece from TechCrunch has Apple saying that iOS and iPadOS 14.4 updates fix 3 vulnerabilities that may have been actively exploited. WebKit is where 2 of the vulnerabilities were found, while the other was associated with the kernel. The piece points out some successful exploits use sets of vulnerabilities chained together rather than a single flaw. That's not uncommon for attackers to first target vulnerabilities in a device's browsers as a way to get access to the underlying operating system. Many mysteries around this one, including who might have been doing the attacking and who was being attacked. According to TechCrunch, Apple did not say if the attack was targeted against a small subset of users or if it was a wider attack. In the absence of details, the piece says iPhone and iPad users should update to iOS 14.4 as soon as possible. And now, back to the fun stuff. I mentioned the haptic handoff thing iOS 14.4 brings to some iPhones that are near HomePod minis. That'll mean an update to HomePod as well, won't it? Apple Insider says this one came in the guise of HomePod software 14.4. According to Apple's notes, software version 14.4 includes bug fixes and the following new features with an ultra-wideband or U1 equipped iPhone. Handoff music with visual, audible, and haptic effects for iPhone to HomePod mini. Get personalized listening suggestions on iPhone when it's next to HomePod mini. And media controls automatically appear without having to unlock iPhone when it is close to HomePod mini. While all of the new features are for HomePod mini, not sure you picked that up, the bug fixes must apply to the original HomePod as well, since my Home app wanted to put that on both my HomePod and its half-pint counterpart. They should update by themselves, or you can prompt the update through the Home app on an iOS device. Off now to Apple's chronometer. Apple Insider says Apple has released watchOS 7.3. According to Apple's notes, watchOS 7.3 includes new features, improvements, and bug fixes, including Unity watch face. Inspired by the colors of the Pan-African flag, the shapes change throughout the day as you move, creating a face that is unique to you. The ECG app on Apple Watch Series 4 or later goes live in Japan, Mayotte, Philippines, and Thailand. Irregular heart rhythm notifications go live in Japan, Mayotte, Philippines, Taiwan, and Thailand. And there's a fix for an issue where Control Center and Notification Center may be unresponsive when Zoom is enabled. The company also lists Time to Walk among the new features in 7.3. Kind of odd since that feature hit Monday, but, whatever. And finally today, what can one say about the tvOS 14.4 update? It fixes bugs. That is seriously about all Apple Insider has to say. Apple on Tuesday released tvOS 14.4 to the public with bug fixes, but no known user-facing feature updates. Share and enjoy. Coming up in a few minutes, Bloomberg says Apple is working on a VR headset. Brian Chaffin, editor-in-chief of the Mac Observer, isn't so sure. Reality's virtual and augmented discussed in a few minutes. Look for that show and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. I mentioned before, but I will remind you, we're doing a first pass at Apple earnings today on macOS Ken Live, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/KenRay. Catch it live or on replay there. You can also grab the audio podcast, macOS Ken Live, wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $35 off your order using promo code macOSKen at sunbasket.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.